So we'll just start off with our typical introduction. My name is Shira Rosen. I am with Literacy Source, and I help support the Digital Equity Learning Network of King County. You can see here we have a listserv and website and email address. So yeah, if you can go to the next slide. So just quickly, what is DELN, the Digital Equity Learning Network of King County? We're a collaboration of community-based organizations, public and private institutions, and individuals invested in digital equity in our region. And we provide opportunities to connect our local digital equity community with sharing resources, creating partnerships, gaining knowledge of best practices, and increasing awareness and support for community efforts. And this is one of the things we do is we have a general meeting every other month. So I'll let people kind of look at this slide for a minute, but what is digital equity and digital inclusion? So making sure people have access and things are affordable and ability to get tech support when needed. And for DELN, we have the bi-monthly meetings, which this is one of them. So the next one will be in 2 months. They are always I think we're the third Thursday of the month from noon to 1 p.m. Right now, they are all virtual. One day we may have some in person as well. We have a listserv, and we would love you to join our listserv if you're not already on it. It is free to join the listserv, and also you can become a member of DELN. If you go to our website, you'll be able to find all of that information. And you can also partner with us to advocate for resources and join working groups, advocacy, or program planning and membership. If you're interested in either of those working groups, please put your name and information in the chat, which group you'd like to be part of, and we will be in touch with you. Those groups meet monthly. And again, you can be listed on our website as a member. If you look at our website, it lists our members, and we would love you to become one. You can do that individually on behalf of your organization, however you would like to do that. All right, so today's agenda, we will do welcome and introductions, have announcements, and then Will Booth is here, and he will be talking about fraud, identity theft, and cybersecurity. We'll have some time for question and answers, and if there is time, we will also do breakout rooms. So before we fully start with Will, I wanted to introduce you to Catherine Van Henley. So actually, if you want to stop sharing screen, then we can see you better. Catherine has recently been hired as the program manager for the Digital Equity Learning Network of King County. So myself and Kat will be letting Catherine take most of the job and do that. And she is working out of Literacy Source, but really DELN is kind of its own entity. And so Catherine will kind of introduce herself, tell you a little bit about her. And if you write to the email address on the website or go to the website, you'll be contacting Catherine directly. So Catherine, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. Some of you I've had the opportunity to meet with already, and some of you I have scheduled coming up. I am excited to be part of this coalition. I'm learning a lot. I'm new to the digital equity space, so there is a lot for me to learn and continue to learn. And you know, I'm always looking for any input. So if you feel like we need to connect, and I may just find you and reach out to you on LinkedIn or via email. But please, go ahead and reach out to me directly or drop your information in the chat. And then also during the meeting, I'll be, sharing links to the website or the listserv sign up, so you can access that if you're not already part of that list. But thank you for welcoming me.
All right. Thank you, Catherine. And Catherine will be taking over leading these probably next time in 2 months. Yeah, so thank you. We're very excited to have Catherine. She's doing a great job so far. So also, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. All right, so let's move on to our scheduled program. Will Booth is here from T3, and he will be presenting on what it said on the slide, because I don't have the name memorized, I'm sorry, but fraud and identity and cybersecurity. So He will be able to explain that in more detail as he presents on that. Thank you for being here, and I'm excited to hear what his presentation is. So thank you very much, Will, for joining us today and offering to give us a great training.
By all means, thank you. I was looking forward to this. I was just in a Zoom meeting where we were talking about this very topic. So we can share screen here. Is everyone able to see okay? Perfect.
Yep, great. It's clear.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about some things around fraud, identity theft, and cybersecurity. And this is meant to be interactive, so please take yourself off of mute. And Catherine, if you wouldn't mind monitoring Cat, probably won't be able to see Cat. But if there's any questions that come up, please feel free. Again, this is meant to be interactive, and I will be asking questions of the attendees. So again, we're going to be talking about identity theft, fraud protection, online security, and phishing scams. So again, these are some of the questions. So should you report identity theft or fraud?
Yes.
Yes. When do you report identity theft or fraud?
As soon as it happens.
Yeah. And can someone give me some examples? What you might think identity theft or fraud might be?
When your credit card company tells you that there is a charge that was not from you and they'd like to know if it was real or not, and then you find out, no, somebody was charging on your credit card, and then they rip up your credit card and give you a new one.
Exactly. That is a clear example, or one that I had yesterday with a client. I got a phone call from the care facility that they are currently in because they received a notice that their bank account had a zero balance and they needed to call this number immediately to confirm. And the number looked a little iffy, so they called me. I went over, and sure enough, it was a fraudulent report. And their attempt to obtain access to the senior bank account information. Those are just some examples.
Will, another example that comes to mind for me that I heard about, and it's so horrible, is somehow people hacking and getting into people's medical records and then using medical services under their name. And the way somebody would find out potentially is when they get their statement of benefits from their provider. If they're not looking at that, they can say, wait a second, I didn't have that lab done, or I didn't have that visit.
Yes, exactly. And we're going to be kind of going over a little bit more of that type of stuff that we're seeing come out with reports from the FTC, or the Federal Trade Commission, as early as December 2023. So, in fact, a lot of the stuff that we're going to go over today was pulled directly from the Federal Trade Commission's website. These slides are provided in a PDF format with live links for everyone here. So those will be sent out, I believe, as well. And again, a lot of the stuff is out there. We've just kind of consolidated it in a format that's a little bit easier to read through it, because some of those, like the FTC's website, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of information. And so the team here has gone through that, and we work directly with folks from the FTC to kind of consolidate it down to the most concise format that we can possibly do. We got it down to about 44 slides. But that's only because we have examples in various languages of the same thing. And I included all of those in this presentation. We have to see here in 2023, you know, 14% increase over loss since 2022, and it's only going greater because of things like medical, online, lotteries, sweepstakes, things of that nature. Investment reports, we're getting more and more, we're seeing more and more fraudulent reports coming from investment related things. So people are getting access to those information, calling on behalf, and then changing the beneficiary information, or adding a alternate phone number or email address to then gain access, to then change who the payments are being paid out to. Sadly, Washington State still ranks the 7th in the nation for cybercrime. Social media still has about a 30% higher risk of becoming victim to fraud and identity theft. And the most commonly used one again are Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, where have almost 46% higher than any other one. So see a lot of friends on Facebook and say, oh, my account got hacked. Those are the things that are still happening, and these numbers just continue to grow. So you want to report. You can also obtain a copy of any report against yourself or things that you may have had happen to yourself. And you just need some sort of identification to prove who you are. One example I had was had a senior here in the community, had just turned 74, went to go see her doctor, insurance denied, and couldn't figure out why. And after making a few phone calls, found out their identity had been stolen. And their insurance was denied because all the information on their ID did not match the information or that the insurance had, like date of birth, ID number. The person that stole their ID, their identity changed everything, including the bank account access and Social Security direct deposit. So they not only were not able to get the healthcare that they needed, they had lost their Social Security, therefore had no money to pay their rent, and when the moratoriums were all lifted, lost their place of residence as well. And it just became this avalanche of problems and hurdles to have to get through to be able to get a new ID, a new Social Security number, reestablish their Social Security benefits, reestablish their Medicare and Medicaid benefits. Meanwhile, they're also unhoused now too. So it just became, so one thing just turned into this huge hurdle of to have to reestablish.
Will, before you move to the next slide, can I just, is everybody able to hear Will okay? He sounds a little low for me.
Any better? Is this any clearer?
That's a little bit better.
Better? Okay. Yes, I've got the mic right here. So I tend to try to not to speak too loud because it tends to project a little bit too much. So
Okay, you could probably speak a little bit louder.
A little louder. Okay. Okay. So for those that want to see more of the graphs and charts, we have those for you. So again, this is all coming as of December 2023, and this information is being pulled directly from the Federal Trade Commission or the FTC website, and you can go in and you can customize these graphs and charts based on what specific information that you're looking for, depending on the community that you're looking to present this information to. We work within a lot of tribal communities, veteran communities, senior communities, and Two-Spirit LGBTQIA communities. So I've kind of pulled from these various communities as well as some immigrant, any information that was focused on various immigrant communities across the nation. You kind of get a better sense or a pictorial sense of a lot of the information. Like small businesses, from 2021, from 438 million to 752, almost doubled within 2 years. So, online shopping, a lot of imposters, prizes and sweepstakes. So these are all kind of the top fraud. And just as a version of it, so this shocked me, and it shocks me every time I see this. The largest age demographic that has been affected by fraud, here, ages 30 to 39. I would have expected, kind of the more senior communities, because that's kind of the work, but they get the larger dollar amount. But that mid-range adult age demographic gets the larger volume. So more people at lower dollar amount, but it's still, when you do the math, it becomes the highest area of loss per capita. So, and any guesses as to why this age demographic might be the highest?
They're the most connected, plugged in.
They're the most connected, plugged in. They're also very active on social media. And social media is one of the highest areas that is being where folks are getting their identity stolen or they're becoming victims of fraud because they are the most active. So again, here we go. Credit cards, social media, the number one. So that age demographic tends to be more of a plastic user, or they're using their smartphones to pay for devices. Their smartphone gets cloned or hacked. Those credit cards get hacked. They're all over social media with them. Those two merging together just escalate their vulnerability.
Will, can I ask you an online shopping fraud question? Hi, this
Yes.
is Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
I think I've been scammed from online before where you buy an item and then it never shows up and then you have to ask your bank, for money over and over again because it was clearly just a way to get you to buy something and then hopefully, they just keep your money.
Yeah.
For the online shopping scams, is it stuff like that where like I think I'm buying something, it's actually never real, never going to get to me? Or is it like I'm purchasing something through a website that's actually insecure and then they steal my credit card from that website? Or is it kind of any of those?
It's a combination of all of the above.
Mhm.
I worked with one elder who received a flyer in the mail. Call this number and get this miraculous mop. And if you spend this much, we'll send you two for the price of one, plus shipping and handling.
Mhm.
And this particular elder is in Alaska. So they called that number. And not knowingly, the mop was only like $19. Okay, great.
Mhm.
So she ordered two, one for herself and one for her sister. The shipping and handling to ship it to Alaska was $200
Oh my God.
because it was a different country.
Mhm.
Like, no, it's through the U.S. Postal Service, just like everyone else.
Right.
UPS and FedEx deliver there just like everywhere else in the continental
Mhm.
U.S. But this so-called company charged her over $200 for a mop.
Wow. That is wild. That's terrible.
And we're seeing a lot of the smaller communities throughout Washington State falling victim to similar things like that because they don't have street addresses. They only have PO boxes. So, oh, well, we have to send a special courier to deliver it to a PO box. Like, no, just mail it to the post office.
Mhm.
But they fall victim to that for various reasons.
Mhm. Thank you, Will. I would fall for that. Absolutely. I feel like I get lost in trying to figure out how shipping works. And I wonder if COVID made it even easier because everything was kind of in flux.
Yes, we saw a huge increase during the pandemic. My partner actually fell victim through an online, through Facebook. Everything looked legitimate.
Mhm.
A big department store or box store place was closing down, which was public information. So they assumed, based on what they saw, everything was correct. They didn't show me this up until afterwards, and I may have caught it, but they spent a couple $100 with like 500% savings type thing. This sounds a little too good to be true. As soon as they hit the purchase button, within
Mhm.
about 30 seconds, they received an auto-generated text from their credit card
Hmm.
and company. And they thought that was fraud, not the online purchase. So
Mhm.
it's like, call your bank. Just call them. Do not respond to the text. Just call the bank. Sure enough, that online store was fake.
Mm.
So,
Wow. Thank you for sharing, Will.
I mean, So more charts and graphs. Again, here in this particular one for debt and collection reports, the average age is between 30 to 49. And these are because of all the fraudulent stuff that's coming. And this particular one is based on Washington State. So because of all these fraud companies and these fake charges, and now there's all this debt you're trying to clean up, you're trying to get that money back, it becomes this back and forth of tug of war when filing claims. So I worked with one, they're more in the 70 to 79 range, and unbeknownst to them, because of these faith-based, so-called faith-based organizations claiming this or that, they took that phone call, it sounded great to them, they looked at that text message, it looked real, they used the right verbiage, and they agreed to everything, thus agreeing to have over $200 a month taken out of their check, or taken out of their checking account automatically every month. Within 6 months, they were paying over $1,200 in overdraft fees. That was over half of their fixed income coming from Social Security. Now they couldn't pay rent now because they had $1,200 in overdraft fees, because all these so-called faith-based organizations were taking more than the $2 that they had authorized. They were taking $200 or more every month. We've since worked with the bank and gotten that cleared up, and they've stopped those fake, and the banks are now going after those organizations to try to get some of that money back. But they said that could take up to 18 months or longer. So for those that work with veterans or the active duty military communities here, because I think we have at least 2 or 3 throughout King County, I wanted to pull this particular chart. Active duty military and veterans, especially newly discharged from active duty, are being targeted in greater numbers, mainly because there are more of them. Since like when I was in the military, they're coming up because they're not exposed to a lot of this information while on active duty. Many of the young service members, they live in dormitories, they eat at the base chow hall, or the diner. So they're not doing a lot of the same things that those of us who are not in the military. They're not being exposed to a lot of the same information that we're exposed to here on a daily basis. So they come out of the military, and there's all sorts of, you may have, if you've ever flown, any active duty military member with a military ID card, you are free to board. That's actually not supposed to be allowed. Active duty military, especially flying commercial airlines, are not supposed to identify themselves as active duty military. And they're not supposed to be using their active duty military ID card, and the same thing for dependents, as a proof of identity. Those IDs are only supposed to be used on a military installation for official government purposes only. But other organizations know of this, and they use that to their advantage to then target those particular individuals and households for numerous scams. And for those that don't like to look at a bunch of numbers and words, here's just some pretty pictures. So this kind of shows the areas of the globe that are most targeted, and right now are where most of the attacks are coming from. So I know we get a lot of those, oh, well, I got this thing from some prince in some African country. Well, actually, most of them are coming from here, our neighbors just north of us. So the one person I talked about earlier, the 74-year-old who had their identity stolen, the person that stole their identity is living in Alberta, Canada. So there was nothing the local US legal system could do because they were in a different country. And then here's just kind of a breakdown of the chart of the different countries and the number of reports. So Canada, over 20,000 reports as of between January and December 2023. Our neighbors just north of us. Okay, online safety and security. Anyone know the difference between HTTP or HTTPS?
The S adds it's a secure connection.
Correct. The S stands for security, or secure, and then they also add the padlock. So if you see a closed padlock and the S in combination, this is a secure website. No S, no, depending on your web browser, there's no locked padlock there. This is not a secure website, meaning if they're asking for credit card, banking information, personal information, including your social security number, your EIN number, your date of birth, just stay away from that website for anything of that nature. Do not share your personal information. It's not secure. They've not gone through the protocols to become a secure website. Anyone ever see this pop up on their screen?
Yes.
Yeah. If this happens, what should you do? Should you call
Ignore
that phone
it.
number? Yeah. Yeah. If you're able to, just power off your machine. Now, if you've got documents open, chances are it didn't save unless you're using a system that auto saves, but just shut it down. Something's come through. Give yourself a minute, power it back on, do a complete virus scan of your system to make sure you did not get hacked. You did not get a spyware in there somewhere. Because a lot of the stuff, this will just pop up. People will start clicking on those links, which then opens the door for that virus to be downloaded. So your best bet is just shut your machine down. For a laptop user, that doesn't mean closing the laptop. That just puts it to sleep. That doesn't turn it off. I mean, press and hold that power button until your machine turns off. Again, anything you were working on, you will not, unless you just did a save, you may have lost it. But that's a lot better than having a virus come in and literally pull everything from your email, your hard drive, even your secure folder. Depending on that virus, it can embed itself and it can stay there for hours, weeks, months, years, depending on what security protocols you have embedded on that device. Same thing for your tablets and your smartphone. Power it off. What's wrong with this website?
Amazon has two ends.
Amazon has two ends. So you can see up here, it does have HTTPS. Looks like it's got the Amazon logo. Looks just like every sign-in that I've ever used, but read the address bar. Make sure that that is correct. They're smart. So here's a UPS one. Can anyone tell me what might be wrong with this website?
Completely
Address.
random website.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry.
No, we're good. Same deal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, ggshooter.com. I don't see UPS up there, but also right here, complete this short survey about your shipping. I don't know about you. I've shipped with UPS online. I have never received a survey that says I may win money for completed the survey. Especially when it's got an expiration countdown clock. So red flags all over this. So yeah, we gotta be very mindful of the web address and just what's actually in the information. We all get these pretty much on a daily basis. So some of the stuff that's already come out here that, again, this is kind of redacted to protect the identities of the individuals. But like here, this address with this name doesn't match this name, but even the verbiage, it just doesn't read right. I mean, I have to assume they're trying to say, I mean, you can just read through it, and they're using strange writing, misspelled words, weird spacing between the characters. So things like this that just jump out as no, no, no. And if you don't know who the from address is, and they're sending you stuff, yeah, just read everything, not just the narrative of the email. Here's one that comes across, especially for those that are here on some type of like a visa of sorts. Again, read the email. Who is it coming from? Apple FaceTime? From the National Security Department? Last I checked, Apple has nothing to do with the National Security Department. But even the logo, it doesn't have all the information or the correct logo for the National Security Department. And why would you ever need to verify your FaceTime? But those that are here from a different country, they're here on a visa, or they're here on for in any other form or faction, may be getting these. But if they don't know this, they're going to click on that link, and their smartphone, their tablet just got hacked. I don't know, anyone ever use Pinterest? Yeah. So they even put on here, be careful. This might be. And sure enough, this is a fake email. So it's just, yeah. I just am looking into Pinterest. They don't just send out random, please take a moment to make sure that no, they'll do that if you've gone on to Pinterest and you logged in with an incorrect password, or you used an invalid email, but it's going to be on their website. It's not going to be in your email unless you ask them to confirm your email. They're not just going to send something out. Another one. So again, look at where it's coming from. So this is coming from landgate.wad.gov.au. From Coca-Cola Europe. But yet, reply to this name at an Outlook email address. Emails don't match. So, just be very, very mindful. And no subject. And why is someone from a government agency sending an email about a private for-profit company? And prize notifications. So, all uppercase, bolding, using different currency other than US currency. Names aren't matching up. Formatting isn't matching up. Emails aren't even matching up. So it's these are the things that kind of tend to stand out. They're even using different, like the European way of writing out the word check. I mean, yes, it's in euro dollars, but they would use the euro dollar sign, not the EUR sign. And yeah, so it's just everything about it. just screams, stay away, stay away, stay away. So do not click on links, delete it, report it as spam. Your email provider tracks any reports of spam or fake emails so that they can then track all that and start blocking those types of emails and those coming from those email addresses automatically. Now, of course, these folks change their send from email addresses pretty much every other minute, and it's really difficult to stay on top. But if you don't report them, then it never hits their system of possible fake. Again, so this is one that I received, and I was almost caught off by this because I've done work with this particular organization during the height of the pandemic. I was dealing with them pretty much on a daily basis with a number of veterans in the area. So when I saw this, my initial thing was that this is correct. But then I reached out to them. I just picked up the phone and called up there to make sure that this was this real? And they're like, no, somehow their system got hacked, and whoever this is was sending out emails on behalf of the organization, which is the funeral home. So this was really problematic. But I knew enough to call them before responding to anything. And I didn't call this number. I had their phone number in my phone and called them directly. So yeah, this was just April of last year. So again, you're gonna a lot of people get fraudulent text messages. Just so everyone understands, Walmart will never text customers about winning a gift card. They don't do that. They will never do that. They have never done that. This was very similar to the information that the one person I had that called me yesterday. They received this about their account, and sure enough, it was fake. So they're not, unless you've done something wrong, the bank is not going to text you. They're going to call you or mail you a letter. Same thing. Credit alert, temporary block, please call. If you get something like this, you should already have a phone number to your credit card or your bank. It'll most likely be like an 800 or an 888 number or an 877 number, not something with a local area code. Call them directly with the numbers that you have, not something that showed up on your phone. You get something that looks a little kind of like, is this right? Do I get this? Press, stop to opt out. By responding, even though you said stop, you automatically gave them access to stuff on your phone. Just be mindful of that. And I pulled these off the FTC website. I'm hoping these are in the correct languages and correct verbiage. I don't speak any of these, but I wanted to provide these for those that do come from a different language. But again, they're asking for specific information. Click this link. Do not click. Do not click. Call on the number that you have that is the correct phone number for that supposed organization. Do not assume that these texts are correct. Yes, many people still aren't not necessarily using U.S. Postal Services like they were in the past. However, we're still getting things through the mail. Again, this is the letter that I received. I'm sure many people have seen things from Endurance. So the FTC has stated, these people are not real. Do not call them. Do not talk to them. Do not share your information with them. It is fraudulent. So at the time of receiving this letter, I did not have a vehicle. So why are they sending me a letter? I don't have a vehicle. I use public transportation. So yeah, and I'm working with a number of folks that they get one of these pretty much weekly. Some people are still receiving checks in the mail. Anyone tell me what's wrong with this check?
It's asking for you to pay. Oh wait, no.
No,
Yeah,
it's a
pay
cashier's
exactly
check.
1900.
It's a cashier's check.
It's also 1,980 cents.
Yeah. So yeah, they put a cent sign here. It's not how you write a check, at least not here in the US. But they use the numbers where it says pay exactly. Remember, this part of the check, for those of us that can remember checks, is letters only. So they should have spelled out $1,980 in letters. And then the cents can be in numbers and letters. But the dollar amount has to be in letters only. And most banks do not spell out the name of their state. They use the two-letter abbreviation. Can anyone tell me what would happen if the recipient took this, if this Diana person, if this was a real person, if they took this to their bank, the bank cashed it, and then discovered it was not a real check? What might happen to Diana?
Would they take it out of her account to refund the bank?
Exactly. They would automatically withdraw it from her account to pay back the money, plus any fees that the bank may assess. So not only did they not get the $1,980, they now had to pay that back in the full amount, plus any fees that the bank may charge them. So be mindful of checks you get in the mail. They're not always real. So again, investments and grants are kind of the big things right now that folks are getting targeted by. Again, and all this information is available on the FTC website. This is also the exact same information. They have it available in Spanish and other languages. Again, those that are working with like small businesses, self-employed, we're seeing a huge increase in scams going after this particular audience, claiming that they can help create your business, create your marketing plan, create this, create that for a fee. And then that fee tends to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. One person was actually contacted by a attorney who could help them get their VA benefit for only 10% of whatever amount that they're awarded. The VA offers those services at no cost by licensed, trained specialists that know how to navigate the VA's bureaucratic ways, and they don't charge a fee for that. Yeah, more information. Yeah, this coach, and then again, same information, but in Spanish as well. Again, a number of press releases that came out late last year, just a couple months ago, regarding some of the different scams and things that the FTC is being made aware of, and they're looking into and researching and investigating. More information are on these links. Again, these slides will be shared with you. You can go directly to their website where they've got a bunch of information. Again, you can pick various languages to be able to view this information in. Shopping, donating, credit and loans, job scams. Job scams are through the roof right now as well. Fake jobs. So you can select from a various drop downs directly at the FTC website. So should you report? Yeah, and you can report it directly to the FTC. You can report identity theft directly to the FTC, and you can sign up for their do not call registry. And this is handled by the U.S. government. And that puts you on the do not call list. Sadly, those lists get do not get as updated as fast as you would like them to be, but that is at least a roadblock. You can go to consumer.gov for additional information, recovering from identity theft and avoiding additional scams. This particular website was a huge help for the one client, again, who had their identity stolen from somebody based out of Alberta, Canada. They were able to connect me with a attorney that specializes in this and who works pro bono. So, because it took that level to get them their Washington State ID card reissued, a new social security number, getting their social security benefits reestablished with their new social security number. But it took an attorney to do that. And I was able to find that attorney through this website, and that attorney worked pro bono for this particular individual. And if you want to go into more detail and information on this or anything else, this is my contact information. We also work with Becky House of American Financial Solutions that goes even more detail and specifics depending on the topic. And so you can always reach out to Becky as well. Any questions?
I have a question. Have you worked with anyone who has been a victim of identity or fraud as related to like AI or over the phone?
I've not gotten that yet. I'm actually surprised I haven't received a notice of AI fraud.
Yeah.
The closest would be the robocalls from back in the day, especially when we had landline phones. So like the one who had over $200 being taken out of their account was a victim of a robocall.
Yeah, I know my parents are very worried just based on how they're presenting themselves as the voice of the loved one, you know, when they call and all that. So I don't know if anybody else here on the call has either been a victim or know anybody who's been a victim of it, or if it's just urban legend at this point.
I've heard, yeah, I have received years ago, before kind of focusing on this particular type of work, within tribal, remote tribal communities, there were a number of like elders who would got a phone call from their grandchild. They're in jail, and they went down to the bank and they wired the money, and then it's like, but yeah. So I've heard of that. I've talked with those elders. I personally have not had anything directly, because all this was like after the fact.
Does anybody else have a question, comment?
I just comment, I really appreciate what you've shared, Will, and how you shared it. Even though I was on mute, I was laughing at some of your voice inflections at the appropriate times to try to keep this light, even though this is really scary information to have to present. But I did want to share one example that I've been getting a lot, and I think it's one of these, just another really scary way they try to get at people. The message that comes from McAfee virus protection. Oh, we've charged your account. And I'm thinking, I know I don't have McAfee, but they're doing that very thing again, of the thing that people think might be protecting them, you know, antivirus, whether they understand they have it or not, is trying to tell them, we've either charged you or we're going to turn it off if you don't update your account with us. And that's just a real common one that seems to be coming through recently.
Yeah, I need to put that one on, because I just received that one, and it came to my. I did create a junk email. So when there's work I need to do or just personal stuff, I don't want to be inundated, because I know that they're going to turn around and sell my emails. I have a junk email, and that one is getting inundated, and I just got one of those. I think that one was for Norton. I'm like, yeah, if it's going there, I know it's fake. Anything in that?
Any other questions or comments? Or if you don't have a question or comment about what Will was saying, are there any announcements of any kind that anybody has that they want to say? Maybe if so, we'll hold off for a minute and say thank you so much, Will. That was incredibly informative. I think a lot of us will take this recording back to where we work, share it with other people. And as always, it will be posted on the DELN website in the next week or so under previous meetings. So please look at the website, and if any of the Zoom recordings on the website, you can share with whoever you want. We want as many people to know this information as possible. So thank you. That was great. Any last comments you have, or anybody else, and then we can see if there's any announcements.
No other comments from me on this, Janet, but if there's any questions or comments that come up later, feel free to reach out. I work remote, so I'm available. I would like to make an announcement though. Lincoln and Haida up in Linwood, Washington. I know
Elizabeth, can you mute? Thank you. Sorry, say that again.
Lincoln and Haida. So more than 50% of their enrolled tribal members live here in the greater Puget Sound area, and they have new office space up in Linwood, Washington. I know it's not King County, but they're just right next door to us. They're hosting a community resource fair. So we're going to be there providing digital literacy and navigation access, along with Evergreen Goodwill, the Washington State Library. Evergreen Goodwill is bringing their tech bus. So it'll be kind of cool to be able to see that live and in person. Washington State Library, WorkSource is going to be there as well. Washington State Department of Veteran Affairs, other community-based organizations throughout King County, Snohomish County, Pierce, Gadget are going to be there providing their various resources to not just tribal communities, but all communities. So it's an open event, 9 to 4 on Saturday, Lincoln and Haida in Linwood. And again, this is open to everybody, with light nibblies also being provided. So, you know, we all got to eat too.
Where can we find more information online about the
I'll post the information from the T3 website there in the chat.
And then we can also send it out to the listserv. Catherine, if you're able to do that, we can send it out to the listserv with the link. Any other announcements that people have? Oh, go ahead, Will. Were you going to say something else?
Oh, no, sorry.
Great.
The website just didn't want to load.
Because you need it right now, of course. So, yes, technology, what we're talking about. All right. Anyone else have an announcement? David, go for it.
This is David. Hey, everybody. Thanks a lot, Will. Great to see you too. So I really appreciate it. Let's see, just two things. One is that, so next Tuesday, we're doing another presentation and kind of a deeper dive into the results from our technology access study that Will helped work on. So from 3 to 4 o'clock, we're going to kind of stay a little bit longer if folks want to do additional discussion. So I'll send it out to the DELN list, and I just stuck the info into the chat. So would love to have folks there, and you know, please go ahead and pass this around to others that you think might be interested in the results and how to use the data. It's a chance to kind of have more discussion about it as well, and how I want to use it. We'll be joined by Jim Loader, who's our Chief Technology Officer at the city as well. So, and then this is my last meeting as a city staff person. I am retiring from the city at the end of the month, and so I will still be in the community. But just really appreciate DELN and all of you and what it brings to our community.
So I'll just say on behalf of DELN and probably every single person on this call, David has done an incredible amount for digital equity in Seattle, but also regionally and nationally. And you can say many of us were at the National Digital Inclusion Alliance Net Inclusion Conference in February, and I think out of the 1,300 people, there might have been 5 people David did not know who was there. He is very well known across the country because of his incredible work, and that we will deeply miss you, and we are very happy that you get to retire, and equally as sad that you will no longer be with the city of Seattle, because you've done a tremendous amount of work, and thank you so much for all of you have done for the community.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been amazing and quite a journey together.
Absolutely. All right, any announcements after that? That might be a good way to end for the day. Or did Alice, were you going to say something? Please.
Yeah, I hate to say, I'd rather end
No,
with
please
that from
do.
David. It's so wonderful, but I thought I'd use the opportunity if we have a moment. So one of the things we're exploring with the University of Washington's local connectivity lab is developing a community of practice around community-based Wi-Fi and connectivity solutions. So they have the Seattle Community Network, but we think there's probably other ways in the community organizations might be thinking about or actually have already done solutions. Maybe it's within a certain building where they've taken Wi-Fi or access from a certain point and then spread it around the building for residents to use in a free way. So what I'm interested in is if anybody is aware of your organization or another organization you've heard doing that kind of work, if you would email me a good contact person that's been involved in that project, and then I'm going to work with, again, UW to try to convene some people together and start talking to see how we could have a clearinghouse and support each other with lessons learned and best practices and things like that in that space of trying to find ways to get free internet to residents.
Great, thank you. All right, in our last minute, any other announcements? All right, well, thank you all. Thank you, David. Thank you, Will. Appreciate this. This will be a great resource to really get out to the community and let people watch it and learn from it. So thank you, thank you. Have a great week, everyone, and we will see you again in 2 months in July.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.